Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And I know you're probably getting sick about hearing about Iron Lung, but as is Hollywood. But we're going to talk about it nearly toppling Disney's 10-week monopoly, and also some weirdness. So we talked the other day about how Iron Lung was missing from the box office charts, and then they put it back on. They said, yeah, it came in number 2 that week, and I thought, well, everything's good. Well, I'm checking the charts today on Box Office Mojo, and it's missing again.
Again. Yeah,
Now,
so we're not talking about the movie per se. We're talking about the way Hollywood is reacting to somebody daring to challenge them and kind of beating them at their own game, and they're mad about it.
Yeah, so this is very weird. Now, we could say maybe possibly, and there's supposedly Slash Film has excuses as to why it was missing. It's because it's an independent movie. It doesn't have a major studio behind it reporting numbers.
Well, then that's deliberately only appeal. Okay, so how does anything ever appear then, other than the major studios?
So this reminds me of, we talked about this, in regards to publishing. We talked about mainstream publishing and the New York Times and all that. And I remember it was about 10 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, there was an independent publisher that went outside the system, and they published their own YA graphic novel, or novels, YA novel. And they didn't go through a publisher, and they figured out how the New York Times bestseller list was gamed, and they got themselves
Which is what the publishers do all the time.
Same thing the publishers do. They basically sell so many copies, and they actually hire, this is the truth, the publishers hire people to buy copies from those locations that the New York Times uses to get its data, to make it look like they're selling more books than they actually are, and then they can say, oh, it's New York Times bestseller. And even then, even if they do it, the New York Times editorial, they have to sign off on it. So it's gate-kept, but the reason people do it and they pay so much to do it is because you can put New York Times bestseller, even if it was for 1 week, you can put it on the cover of your book. Well, these people figured out how to do it. It was a comic book blog or something, but they had this YA novel, and they got shamed into basically renouncing their New York Times bestseller status because all these people were like, it was a white woman and she took from black people because the black writer was not. It was so ridiculous that the shade they're throwing at them until they basically got shamed out of.
Well, 10 to 1, the studios did the same thing to boost the black writer to begin with. Because it was like a not very well hid secret, Everybody knew that's how you do it. You can hire firms right now to do the same thing, or at least you could a couple years ago. I haven't checked lately.
Yeah, and they're terrified of that, and this is why you see these books that you've never heard of at the top of like Kindle and what, because they're going kind of outside the mainstream publishing industry, and it's all a lockdown system from the agents to the publishers themselves to the authors. Everybody has to be vetted, and they have to go through that system. So that's a much smaller version of what's going on in Hollywood. And yeah, I think Markiplier was not supposed to succeed, and he is, and they're all kind of freaking out. And I am thinking what is going to happen is they're going to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, they probably, well, I don't know, because I think what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to, they want it to happen again, but as long as they're controlling it.
The theater owners are happy, because I know the theater owner I talked to, and we went to go see it the other night. I took our daughter to go see it, and she was over the moon. She was like,
well, they got to keep half the money.
Yeah, and they had 2 theaters for Iron Lung, and they were the good ones. They were the theaters that normally they would put the Disney movies in, the Marvel movies, and they were both Iron Lung, and she was over the moon. She was so happy people were coming in to see this movie. And, she was all excited. She's like, yeah, you guys here to see Iron Lung? All right, let's go. Yeah, so it's been extended. It was supposed to only be like a limited time. And I'm looking here on Fandango, and theaters are running it through, next weekend.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like till tomorrow.
That's what I thought, originally, but it did so well.
Originally, you couldn't even get anybody to carry it. It was only 300 theaters. Then it ended up in like over 3,000 theaters, and the theaters are like asking, wanting it to be extended because they're selling out, or it doesn't necessarily mean the quality is good or bad. It just means that people are going to go see it because they're trying to be part of that viral moment, and Markiplier has a lot of fans. So, and now everybody's just going to go do it. I think I know people for sure are going to see it just to stick it to Hollywood too. Yeah. Because they're so fucking tired of Hollywood locking everything down. And then they put out just dog shit stuff in the theaters, and then they try to shame you if you don't go see it. You're a bigot or a racist or whatever. And then some guy who just has some fans, no marketing, not the way like they do, is almost kicking Disney's ass.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that and how it connects to Disney, and then we're going to talk about some of the media trying to do some damage control here too. So very interesting. This is going to be a very, very interesting situation to watch unfold. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So yeah, this article, there's a video out there, it showed Markiplier, he was crying. He's like, oh my God, I beat Disney. Well,
almost. He didn't quite.
Almost.
He did for one day, and then they took him off the charts. But he didn't, but it was very close. And you have to remember, Disney has a marketing budget. He does not.
Yeah, so Markiplier's Iron Lung nearly toppled Disney's 10-week monopoly because they've had the #1 movie for a long time.
Now, to be fair, he went out, he picked a week, which was smart, when there wasn't much competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, and Sam Raimi's new movie barely beat Markiplier.
Yeah, and I didn't realize Sam Raimi's movie was a Disney movie, but yeah, Markiplier's self-funded directorial debut, Iron Lung, earns $27 million globally in 72 hours, disrupting Hollywood's top spot. The indie horror film success is a win for the creator economy, using 80,000 gallons of fake blood. Yes, I did a review yesterday. There's a lot of blood in this movie. A lot of blood. With an 89% audience score, it's 90 now. Markiplier's decision to maintain creative control pays off in a historic victory. But yeah, Disney has been at the top of the charts for, I mean, you think about it, because they had Zootopia 2, they had Avatar. So they've been dominating.
Well, people were bringing up that, I don't know if they were saying in regards to Melania, but it could be in regards to Markiplier, that suddenly Zootopia 2 was out of theaters and suddenly showed back up in theaters when these movies, when Melania and Iron Lung appeared. Like they were, and suddenly back in for another run. It's like, really?
Yeah. Here it is in 5th place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now this is day to day, but yeah, Iron Lung is missing. Melania's there. Now, Melania, though, is propped up by Amazon. It's Amazon MGM.
But these are like distributors. They have a distributor. So he couldn't get a distributor because basically they probably wanted all the money. It's like, yeah, we'll distribute you, but we get everything. And it's like,
well, that's how it works, right? It's like, yeah, they get the lion's share of the money. And then, so, as a filmmaker, you're losing money to the system just on every level. It's like
even if you aren't in the system, the system makes sure they screw you over.
Yeah, and he talked to distributors, but I think the terms were unfavorable, and he's probably
I'm sure they were unfavorable. They're going to make it so it's, well, no other reason they don't want him there. Like, who do you think you are, pissant? And the thing is, the fact that it's doing well, whether or not you like the movie, is irrelevant. The point is, people are going because they're fans of him, or mostly because they want to stick it to Hollywood. And this would be a lesson to Hollywood. People are over your shit. Yeah. Y'all, you celebrities getting up there acting like you're the bomb and you know everything and you're lecturing everybody. You guys are putting out movies in theater, and except for a couple last year, most of them did dog crap. People are tired of it. People are tired of the arrogance. They're tired of the shitty, weak-ass stuff you're putting out. They're tired of Hollywood ruining franchises with fan bases that existed for years. They're tired of being called names constantly. They're tired of all this shit. They don't want to watch your stuff. That's why they're watching YouTube. They don't, again, I keep bringing this up, but they're trying to take over YouTube. It's like if they wanted to watch you, they would go to your movies. They would watch your TV shows. They would watch your streaming services. If they're not, because they don't want your shit. I don't know how else, I'm more clear to make it, no matter how much you try to keep pushing. Sorry, I hit the table. I don't know how much you keep trying to push yourself in. Thank God I'm not animated, because my hands, I don't know if an animation could keep up. Because it's a load of crap. They don't want it. And a lot of people are going and they're supporting this movie, even though they don't really care about the movie. They might buy a ticket and not even go, just because they want to stick it to Hollywood. And it helps the theaters because they get 50%. Yeah, which is more than Hollywood gives them.
I think this kind of happened with Taylor Swift, too. I think that they were cutting a lot of deals with the theaters directly.
Well, Taylor Swift, a lot of those things were through Disney.
Yeah. Well, I think it was before.
That was AMC, I think. That was AMC.
Yeah, but I think Taylor Swift's mom, who I think is her agent, was cutting deals directly.
That was AMC before she came to Disney. Yeah.
Yeah.
So AMC's going to run their theaters because it was through AMC.
But I think she got a better deal because they went direct. They didn't go through all the.
Well, that's good. No, she got a better deal because she was Taylor Swift.
When you're a certain size, you can go through. You can bypass the line.
They tried to give him a shitty deal. For a couple of reasons. One, because we're like, okay, you do all the work. We'll happily take all your money for doing pretty much nothing. And two, like, oh, look at like I said, this little pissy out. We'll show him his place. And then, bit him in the ass. And, none of you get a cut. So fuck off.
So you go out to the numbers
how
now.
I really feel.
The numbers. Okay, so we went to Box Office Mojo or whatever, and he wasn't on the list at all. Again, right? But you got to the numbers. They're the ones who got called out specifically, and he is number one yesterday and the day before
For the dailies.
For the dailies. Yes. So it's going to be
So
really
he's still going up, and the other ones are already going down.
Yes, because I think this movie has legs. A lot of people in the comments when I did the review, they said they're going to see it 2 or 3 times out of support, for sure. But it actually isn't a bad movie. It's actually pretty good. And if you're
Our daughter wants to go see it again, but that's...
Oh, she does want to go see it again.
She said she did.
There's a lot I think you miss. I mean, especially and I said my review as someone who's never played the game. Like, it took a while for me to wrap my head around like what exactly was going on.
I don't think she cared what was going on. She just wanted the fan service.
Yeah. So, but it's, if you want to see Markiplier in a sub for 2 hours, but it's weirdly entertaining. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And I didn't expect Markiplier to be able to carry it, right? Because I kept thinking, well, this guy is going to be like watching a YouTube video or whatever. I'm like, no, he's actually a pretty good actor. So I was like, oh, well, okay. So that was, yeah. Anyway, yeah, he keeps disappearing. But here's Slash Film trying to explain what's going on, guys.
Okay.
Look, I'm telling you what I think is going on is the studios are big mad. They're furious. How very dare you? Markiplier used to be, now for the Disney connection, and I think we mentioned it before, Markiplier used to play ball with Disney. He was part of Maker Studios. He was part of the reason As were we.
We weren't very big.
No, we weren't, but we had a different channel back then. And that channel is no longer available, so don't bother. but we were part of Maker Studios, along with Markiplier, PewDiePie, a lot of the bigger creators back then. And they tried to give Markiplier...
Clownfish, you grifters, you just showed up.
Yeah,
you showed up a few years ago to complain about pop culture.
No, actually, we've been doing YouTube since like 2011, 2012. So, but whatever. So they bought Maker and they were going to turn some of their bigger people into stars. And they tried doing something with Markiplier. It didn't work. And I think they cut them loose. So with like Rhett and Link and Rhett and Link, they were a different thing. But, Hollywood tried half-assed to try to push these guys through the system. It didn't work. But I think because they weren't playing ball or it didn't work, they kind of like, cock blocked them effectively, because Rhett and Link, they did a whole video about it and they were like, yeah, we tried, we got kicked around Hollywood for years. And
they don't want you to take their biscuit.
No.
They're like, they'll be happy to use you to promote their people. But if you try to think that you're going to come in there and be one of them, they're not going to let you do that, because you're just a turkey on YouTube. You're not a real whatever.
How very dare you? Who do you think you are?
Right. And then they know, and they also know if they make these people famous, they're going to be bigger than their people. And they're just like, and then they're going to probably, not be controlled.
Yeah. So that's what, so I think there's some.
Anyway.
So that's exactly it. And I think because, they tried to push him through the system, it didn't work or whatever. I think that there's probably some, like, oh, we can't let this guy succeed now because, he wouldn't play ball with us, or it didn't work, whatever.
We had a person that was a big agent once that was, it spent 3 hours telling us that we, tried to tell us that our place and that we were crap so that we would let them dictate everything. Didn't work. But I think the reason that she passed, I'll say it's a she, passed on us was because we were uncomfortable. And it was because she knew we weren't just going to do what she said and not ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be uncomfortable.
Well, that's just it. And those people, though, they tend to break out. They tend to find a way, right? You either get discouraged or you find a workround. And then everybody else, then everybody else starts copying you because you found another way. And then, so anyway, they reached out to the numbers. So the numbers has him on there now, but Box Office Mojo doesn't. The numbers wasn't hiding Iron Lung's box office numbers, they said. A number of people reached out to the numbers, that's awkward, regarding the matter, as Markiplier has 38 million subs on YouTube, and his TikTok got a lot of traction with people wondering what was going on. Cowards removed Markiplier's Iron Lung from the box office chart, they said, but the numbers soon released a statement on the matter, explaining that's all part of the standard practice around box office reporting. Here's what the company had to say. Yeah, and they made sure he's on there now. Over the weekend, we didn't receive official estimates for Iron Lung from Markiplier. The numbers we posted were industry estimates based on trusted sources, including reporting and Deadline and Variety. We posted a weekend estimate at 8:30 4 a.m. We didn't have daily estimates until around 12:30 p.m. on Sunday and posted them as soon as we had them. Basically, he's not part of the system, so they're not reporting on him like they are everybody else.
Well, he didn't. I guess they didn't turn the stuff in, but he probably would have known to. But it's just like, I call bullshit. I think it's just, I mean, yeah, to a point, but they could have still just gone with estimates until they had at least left it up there until they had a final number. They just took it off completely.
Okay. Unfortunately, we ranked all movies in the Saturday and Sunday daily charts. When it matters, opening weekend, when it matters. Even though we hadn't gotten estimates for Iron Lung, that may have created a false impression we had stopped reporting on the film. We regret that error. It's important to point out that Markiplier self-distributed Iron Lung, so he and his representatives this is Slash Film doing damage control. So he and his representatives were responsible for reporting the actual box office numbers. The numbers and everyone else in the industry had to rely instead on estimates. And infamously, Netflix also doesn't report box office numbers. So when K-pop Demon Hunters topped the box office last year, it was all based on estimates, much like the situation with Iron Lung.
It was based on estimates, but did you take it off the charts for a couple of days when they didn't give you the exact numbers?
Yeah.
I don't know that, but I bet you they didn't.
Yeah. No, I think what happened was it was too big to ignore. Like I said, the one theater we go to regularly, and this is kind of our litmus test theater. It's like if the crowd levels are low at that theater, we know.
Well, it's like normies. It's like a theater.
It's a normie
theater.
Yeah, it's not like a hipster
tell where
theater.
Audiences actually are.
It's not a super big theater, but that's the theater of choice that we go to. And usually that theater is one we've been going to for years. That is the one that really tells us where a movie's at, and that's the one where you went to Tron Ares. We're the only ones in the theater for Tron Ares, and we're like,
same time we've gone for other movies at opening, and there are people in the theater. So they're like, oh, it's because it was in the early afternoon. People work. I'm like, they all came out. They came out for Snow White. But they didn't come out for Tron Ares?
Right. So that's how we knew that.
Same theater.
Yeah, and that's how we knew that movie was sunk.
It's actually a really good litmus test. If this theater's full, then you can guarantee the theaters in the bigger areas is full too.
This theater is playing Iron Lung on the two biggest screens it has. Okay. And I drove by on Sunday. I was out and I drove by and the parking lot was packed. And the only movie I could think of that people were there to see was Iron Lung. So I'm like, I think this thing is going to be a lot bigger than people think it is. So I guarantee you, as industry watchers, they were well aware. But, when all of the movie theaters are running it and all the whatever, there's no way you didn't miss this. This happened too with some of the Angel films. Angel Studios movies too, where, oh yeah, it was just a mistake, whatever. We just didn't, we didn't think that it was going to be that big of a deal. I forget which one it was, but there, Sound of Silence, was that what it?
I don't remember. Yeah, probably.
Is that what it, not Sound of Silence. What was it? Sound of Freedom. I think that was the one. And it was just like, everybody's like, yeah, they're not even reporting it. Some of the theaters weren't playing it. Like anytime you try to do something outside the fucking system, on every level, the media, and then Slash Film's like doing damage control. Like, it's my job to be fair, and there was nothing going on here. I'm like, bullshit. They were aware.
It's my job to be fair when you're defending the studios. It's like half the time. I don't know about this one particular, but a lot of these blogs, half the time, they aren't fair anyway.
Yeah, so there we have it, guys. No funny business. Mark Fishbaugh just didn't understand how box office reporting works since this isn't his area of expertise, and it caused a little confusion. Simple as that. Because he's an outsider. He wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand how the industry actually works, guys. Trust me, if he does another movie, he's going to fucking understand how it works.
Mm-hmm. So, well, if they let him, or if they don't try to get him to come work for them first so that he can't do it again.
I heard James Gunn.
They're going to pull the ladder
James Gunn was trying to get him.
Somebody said that.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's true or not. I'm like, they're probably going to make sure the ladder gets pulled up behind him. I don't think he would do it. He's not the type. But I bet you the studios and stuff are going to try to make sure. But the movie theaters love it because they go to these independent films that people have a desire for. They're coming, and they don't have to kiss Hollywood's ass, and they get to keep half the money.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap this one up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.